What's up, ladies and non-ladies? It is Serial Killer back again, this time with two solutions for you to the double occult girls Toa 90 hard floor that everyone is having issues with. I went through this with my regular Gildong team, so that would be a Beretta in place of the Hwa. I made it through on my first attempt, but it was omega sketchy. My entire team got super low when both of the occult girls were taunted, and they both slept me, procced an extra turn, and AoE'd back to back, and it almost wiped my whole team. We managed to survive, but it was super, super dirty, the exact opposite of the way I like my TOA floors. So I started thinking of other options, and I decided these sexy whip ladies might be an answer to smooth things out for us. So I came back in here and tried it with Hwa, which is what you're seeing right now. I really liked the way that clear went. This is perfectly safe, and most of us have a Hwa. This is the way that most of you are going to end up clearing this. If you do have a Pang, which is a light Rakshasha, I highly recommend you use her instead. I've included both clears in this video, so at 11:35 we're going to switch over to the clear using Pang. Hwa gets us through this, super acceptable, everyone's happy, all of them are dead, and we're alive. The Pang clear, Pang makes these occult girls look terrible. I don't think these two girls are coming back next month. I'm pretty sure they're just going to quit, say screw this, and not even be here next month. That is how bad Pang just ruins this floor. It is glorious. I highly recommend using this team because this is what most of you have. I also highly recommend watching the clear with Pang. It is glorious what that chick can do. I am going to be searching for a use for her in Guild Wars, and if I find one, I'm going to be 6-starring her. By the way, I keep saying Pang, but I haven't even awoken her yet. My light Rakshasha is 5-star, unawoken, with runes I put on her 5 minutes before I made my first clear, and she just makes this trivial. She is the answer. I'm hoping to get some use out of her in Guild Wars, because using that light Rakshasha is probably the most fun I've had in this game in weeks, if not months. Holy shit, so much fun. So you'll get to see that in a little bit. As far as what we've got going on right now, you've got a couple issues with occult girls. In my opinion, the main issue is that you can't guarantee yourself safety just by taunting the boss. If you taunt the boss and she puts you to sleep, she can proc another turn and then AoE and destroy you. So you have two ways to deal with that. You can put immunity up on your team, and as long as you have immunity, every time they attack you, they can't put you to sleep and they can't proc the extra turn. I thought about coming in here with a Delphi. I decided I wanted to try this first, and this worked so gloriously I didn't even bother coming back in here with a Delphi. The other thing that you can do is to simply either not let them have their turn, which is what Hwa does, or stack the taunt so high that they just cannot proc themselves out of it. You'll see that in the Pang clear. We'll get the taunt up to a few turns, and they'll hit us, put us to sleep, proc another turn, and just auto attack again. If they put us to sleep, they proc another turn, and they just auto attack again. She hits Mav like 3 or 4 times in a row at one point, takes him to like half life, but without the multi-taunt, she would have gone apeshit and cleaved my whole team down. Now, the second issue you have with occult girls is not something that I personally deal with because I always bring Gildong, but that wind imp hits relatively hard, and that light imp will one-shot you for 472 bajillion damage. The light imp will kill you. You cannot let it hit you. If you're trying to stun that thing with like a Veramos, you better cross your fingers and your toes and do something to hope that your Veramos manages to stun him until he dies. You probably want to literally armor break and focus down that light imp if you're trying to do this with a Veramos as your stunner, because Veramos will not stun it forever, and that light imp will ruin your day. If you don't do that, a reviver is a decent option, except I would be afraid that that light imp would literally kill a Brian. I haven't had one. I didn't let him hit me on this floor on 90 hard. I don't know what he hits for, but I ran into them the first couple times I did it on way lower floors, and that dude hits for 1,000,000,000. If you're using a Gildong as a stunner, you can just completely ignore the imps. You don't have to do jack shit with them. You put the slow on them with Spectra, you push that button with Gildong, they are like knocked out forever. You don't have to, armor break them and kick them down with Hwa. We're not worried about doing damage to them at all. We're just gonna let them rot. We're not afraid of the imps at all. It's a total free pass because we have Gildong and Spectra. So all we're concerned about is keeping the taunt on the occult girls, keeping them attack broken and glancing as much as we can, and then ideally not even letting them get a turn, because every time they get a turn, there's a risk that they are going to proc into a big old AoE. We also kind of want to keep their attack bars offset. Generally, like right now, where one's about to go and one's like kind of in the middle, the thought process would be to get the one that's about to go, get her bar down. That way neither of them go. I almost kind of go the other way around on this one. I kind of want one of them, well, ideally they would both be at 0 attack bar, but if you're not going to keep them both at 0 attack bar, you kind of want them offset a little bit. That way if they do manage to proc into an AoE, they don't both do it at the same time. Now that light one is about to fall over, which is pretty much the all clear sign at that point. Once there's only one OG up, it becomes much more manageable. And you'll notice if you were to bring a Beretta in here, that wind imp would have been dead 500 turns ago. But we don't care. A wind imp is going to sit there stunned forever and not do anything. And because we brought that Hwa in here instead of a Beretta, the occult girls are getting infinitely less turns. When they just hit us one at a time like that, it's not a big deal at all. They don't do a whole lot of damage if you're in here with a relatively beefy team. Hopefully you've got a Mammoth in here for a defense buff, and hopefully you have them as debuffed as possible. The problem is when both of them proc and stun the shit out of you and debuff you and kind of stack on top of each other. Things can get out of hand really quick, and that's what happened with my Beretta clear. So at this point, we just want to not lose focus. We're struggling quite a bit more to get our debuffs up on the Wind Occult Girl here, and that's because the Gildong keeps glancing her. It's not the end of the world though. We're not in real big threat here, so we're not too troubled. Nice, we just got both of them. Maybe we get an armor break too? No armor break. So the one kind of sideways from this team is to bring a wound hack instead of a Gildong. I don't like that, but a lot of you are going to have wound hack and not Gildong. So if you do have the black Taoist wound hack, he can be used in place of the Gildong. You're going to have one advantage and one disadvantage. The advantage is you're going to have a much easier time keeping the attack break and the glancing debuff on the Charlotte, because you're not going to be glancing her when you try to apply them. The downside is you're going to not have an armor break, so it's going to take you much longer to kill either of the occult girls. You see right here, we don't have an armor break on this Charlotte, and it's taking much longer to drop her. We really want Gildong to get his armor break on this chick so we can like double our fun here killing this chick. Hopefully we can. No violent proc, I was hoping for one of those, but this is a really good showcase here of how much the Hwa brings to the table here. This Charlotte is just not getting anything done. And finally we got that armor break on. Now she's going to start to get crushed. Both the Spectra and the Hwa will be doing pretty good damage into her. Gildong again failed to armor break her, but Hwa just took a nice fat chunk of life out of her. Basalt will even hit her decently hard with an armor break up when he crits. And then here's the monster right there, 24k out of that Spectra. My Hwa only does 10k, and she's built relatively well on speed, crit damage, attack. I love that Spectra. The hit point scaling on him is amazing. He's full support with just kind of meh runes, and he still does 2.5 times what my Hwa does to that chick. And that's a pretty clear run. That was my first run through with Hwa. You got to see, even when they do get a turn, it doesn't automatically go to shit because you get plenty of debuffs on them. You got plenty of opportunity to buff and heal in between their AoEs. Very, very controlled group. Gonna go ahead and show you all the runes used in this team right here, and then we're gonna do it again with the same team, except we're gonna bring Pang, the Light Rakshasa, instead of Hwa. She's actually going to be 35 and still asleep, and she is going to just destroy this floor. Hopefully more than 0 of you have a Pang, because she is your free ticket to just stomping on this floor. So let's more or less approach this the same way. We're going to ignore the imps. We don't need to worry about putting dots or killing them or really doing anything. Gildong and Spectra are going to handle the imps forever. We want to get a taunt, an attack break, and a glancing on both of the occult girls. You see that right there? That 2-turn taunt, 3-turn slow? Oh man, that is beautiful. So that Charlotte can hit me, proc her sleep bullshit, and get another turn and still be forced to auto attack me instead of being allowed to AoE. So we really want to keep the taunt on both of them at least 2. That is our goal. With both of them up, it doesn't get super high. As soon as one of them dies, we're going to stack that thing to 1 billion, and they're going to get nothing done. But as long as we can... Oh, we didn't get that one. There we go. So now we got them both at 2. I like that. Now we want to concentrate on getting the attack break and the glancing on the wind one, and the armor break on the light one. Right there, perfect example. The Charlotte right there hit my Mav, procced the sleep, gained another turn, but was forced to auto attack instead of AoEing. It did let the taunt fall off of her, but she didn't get to AoE right there. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to try to build that taunt back up. We got it back up to 2. We'll go ahead and AoE stun to get that imp out of here. Maybe get an armor break. No armor break. That's just going to slow things down though. The armor break isn't required for any kind of safety issue. It's just the glancing, the attack break, and the taunt, which we've got built up really well on that light one. The light one's not doing anything for a long time. The wind one is just barely buffed or debuffed, but we'll get that stacked up nice and good. And maybe right now. Give me another one. Yeah. So they've both got 3 turns of taunt and then an assortment of other debuffs. The chance of them sleeping me 3 times in a row is extremely, extremely low. We've added an insane amount of safety into this floor and taken out their scary RNG. I was thinking about waiting. Ooh, what just happened with my my feed here? Oh, that's interesting, but we're back. Alright. Hopefully that doesn't happen anymore. I was thinking about waiting and trying to get a single target stun out. That way I could try to armor break these guys again, but I figured it was safer to just wait another turn. And now we've got that armor break on that light one. She's going to start to fall real quick. I want to extend that. Look at these fucking numbers. I've got it. So right there, the wind one just procced again, and it took her from, like, on her slow was at 6 and her taunt was at 5, dropped her down to 4 and 3, but she got absolutely nothing done. She took essentially no life away from Basalt. She got nothing done, and she would have AoE, stun, cleave, omega, nuke bombed my entire team that we don't have to deal with. at this point, we've gotten the debuffs stacked high enough where this one's a win. We've got this, no problem. There's essentially zero functional chance that one of these OGs is going to get to cast their AoE attack. And with Gildong here, we're not too worried about these imps. That imp's going to get a taunt off. Best case scenario, that imp gets a taunt off. But we're not worried about it, using its super nuke, which is what we're worried about. Might not even, it's not even going to get a taunt off because Gildong is the man. I love that when I'm in here with a Veramos and I'm about to push the taunt button, I go, oh shit, I hope this taunt lands. When I'm in here with a Gildong, I go, okay, cool, my taunt's off cooldown, everything on the screen is taunted. I don't have to worry about is it going to land because it essentially always lands. It is extremely rare for Gildong to miss a stun. There's another one. I'm hoping for a big old chain. I know my Mav gets hit a few times in a row, which is it probably would have been a death wish without that. But we got two more right out of that light OG. Would have been a big old AoE mess that we just don't have to deal with. The light Rakshasa that I have has pretty decent accuracy. I was aiming for 45% because I like that number for TOA. I don't think you need any more of that for the few exceptions, but she's missing a lot. When you awaken her, you get another 25%, but neither of these occult girls get resistance from awakening, so 45 should do what we need to, but she does seem to be missing quite a bit. Although it might just be because, I'm focusing extremely heavily on that because that is what's carrying this whole team. Her buff extension is just brutal. But if you notice, we were way up in the 3s or 4s, and she kind of had a bad streak, and we just dropped down to 1 and 1. She got it back to 2 on the light OG, but the wind OG isn't any better off right now than she would be on a regular team, just because the light Rakshasas missed a couple. Now we got the wind one fully debuffed. Hopefully I get a turn, which I did not. I wanted to extend all of that on the wind one. That would have been pretty sweet. But this light one's got a death wish. And then once the light one's down and we can focus all of our attacks into the wind one, we'll see if we can stack that thing to the cap. It goes to 10, and then it just takes away the number. It continues to count. You can get it above 10. I wanted to know, so I got it above 10, and then I hit her a couple more times so that I knew it was even higher than that. And then I left her alone and let her take a turn, and it stayed in that extra, animation where there's no number. So I'm pretty sure it'll let you count, 11, 12, 13, 14, and it keeps track of them. It just doesn't have a way to display that, so it just removes the number completely. And you're about to see that right here because the light one is dead. We're going to switch all of our go juice into this wind one, and then our Pang is going to get this chick fully buffed. Hopefully we can get an armor break on her. Probably take a couple applications unless we get lucky, which we did not. Which is actually, so the wind one just got another proc right there. That would have been another AoE that we just avoided because Pang is a super badass. But what I was noticing on that last armor break attempt, Gildong hit the wind one 4 times. He only glanced on one of them. He just failed to apply his armor break on the other 3 hits, which is pretty annoying on my end, or at least I'm annoyed by that. My Gildong is not fully skilled. I don't have the cooldown reduction in the AoE stun or in the armor break, but I'm getting close. I've fed him a decent amount of fire ones, so he's got a couple points in all of his things, and he's starting to get the percentage chance application skill ups, which I'm pretty stoked about. I can't even imagine a Gildong with the second skill cooldown drop to 3. Mine's still at the factory 4, and it's already too much stun. Very often I won't use his stun because I just don't need it yet, and there's a whole nother turn I can drop off of it. There we go, look at the slow, and then that just knocked it off the other ones. So we're at 10 across the board on the Charlotte debuffs, and we'll go ahead and get that up to 13-ish or so. I think I get a few more, and then I start spreading it around to the imps because I want to see. That's when I'm doing the testing to see if it's counting above 10 or if it just goes, shit, I'm above 10, and then displays nothing and kind of forgets. It's weird. You can never really assume what Com2uS is going to do with stuff like that, and really the only way to find out is to check. Now notice here that Wind Imp's about to get a turn. He's going to hit me for like 2. Yeah, he hit Basalt for like 3,000. Did absolutely nothing. And then Gildong says, go to sleep, fucker. And then we continue to stack this to the ceiling. It would be really nice if Armor Break would land, which in that aspect it wouldn't help if we had Woundhack here instead, because Woundhack doesn't have an Armor Break at all. But it is kind of annoying where Gildong, I think we're on like 3 or 4 rotations now of Armor Break, where Gildong just does not want to put it on this window G. And as soon as he does, her life will drastically start falling. Right now, Spectre doesn't do a whole lot of impressive damage, even with his or her hit point scaling. She really needs an Armor Break on there to do some nice numbers. I think we're about, see right there, we just got another one. She got 2 in a row. My Mav wasn't at 100% anyway, but auto attacks are not a big deal. The only thing scary about the OGs is them proccing asleep on their auto attack and then getting another turn, which we have prevented. And there's the Armor Break. So now the kill time from here, it's going to take us way less time to finish her than it did to break her down this far, because we've got that Armor Break on and it's not falling off. As in fact, with the Pang, we could probably get it up to all the way to the top, but actually I don't think she's going to live long enough to get it stacked much higher than that anyway. Spectre's going to start eating that Charlotte. I don't think we have to stack them any higher on the Charlotte, and I kind of want to spread it around. I really like seeing the 3, 4, 5, 6 turn just stuns and slows spread all over the place. And my sleeping 35 Rakshasha doesn't really do any damage anyway. She's built full support just because I didn't want her to die on the trash, which by the way was super glorious. Gildong and Spectre are here, so it was relatively easy anyway, but then it was really nice having the Pang there just to extend everything. It was really nice. It's so much fun. I don't know if you guys have this chick. I knew what she did, but I had not really used her until right now, and it is ridiculous how enjoyable it is to kick these debuffs up. It is so satisfying. Definitely one of the more entertaining things I have done in Summoner's War in a very long time. And I think we're definitely one nuke away from victory here, and then I will switch to showing you the runes that we used on these guys. The other 4 monsters are the same, but I will go ahead and show all 5 just in case you skipped the Hwa kill and watched this one. Notice, again, the Light Rakshasha is unawakened. She's got a +9 focus rune on there, Violent Broken. It is amazing. I really want to find a use for her in Guild Wars. And then I would probably switch her rune set to something like a Hwa, a speed crit damage attack, and try to pair her with like a Dozer or a Kona or a Basalt, someone who can auto attack crowd control, maybe even that Varus, and just extend the shit out of it with her, and I think it makes for some pretty entertaining Guild Wars. Well, that about wraps this one up, guys. As always, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and if you enjoyed it, please take the time to like and subscribe. See you next time, guys.